Hi, this is your host, Laura Powers, and I'm so pleased to have Shelley Wasicki on the show. And we are here to do a live reading. And this is actually our take two. We had one where we had some technical issues. So I trust that this is for a reason. And this is what is supposed to be shared today. So thank you so much, Shelley, for coming on the show.
Oh, well, Laura, I'm so excited to be here and thank you for being gracious for take two.
You are so welcome. These things happen. And Shelley, can you share a little bit about yourself, your background? You have a company that does amazing things, and also your new podcast that's coming out.
Yes, thank you. So I do have a company called the Positive Spirit Company, and we'll actually be celebrating our 1 year anniversary on November 11th. So I'm super excited about that. And I began the company because I really just felt that it's a heavy time. And if I could sprinkle a little positivity into people's lives by creating items that are energetically infused with love and items that would add joy to someone's life, then that would be a great place to start. So I'm excited with how the company's taken off, and I'm building and branding, and very, very happy with where I am.
That's exciting. Well, congrats in advance on your 1 year anniversary. That's really, really exciting.
Thank you. And I'm super excited. This past year with COVID has been busy for me. So I decided that I was going to write a book on spiritual messages that we receive from the animal kingdom. And that will be releasing soon. And I'm starting a podcast called The Positive Spirit with Shelley that will actually be launching in a few weeks. And I'm super excited that I will be interviewing you.
Yay!
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing my message and just getting some positivity and good vibes out to the world.
Amazing. I'm so excited for you. I know you have such an incredible and positive message. So your company name is very appropriate, but I know you're going to do amazing things. So I'm very excited for you. Well, let me just tune in here. So I'm going to call on Shelley's angels and guides and my angels and guides, that I could feel all your animal guides live and in spirit around. So asking for their help, as well as specifically Archangel Michael, Raphael, Samuel, Jophiel, Azrael, Metatron, any other angelic guide can assist. Please make sure this is a safe space, increase clairvoyance and psychic ability, and make sure that whatever comes through is for the highest good. So, Shelley, I already have some ideas of things that are coming through. And again, just for everyone who's listening, if you are listening to this, then these messages are also for you, or at least a part of them is for you. That's just how it works. But I'd love to check in, Shelley, to see if you have any particular questions or topic, life areas that you're curious about or would like to know more information about.
I definitely would like some information on, like I said, I'm growing my business, and
If you can just
I would love some
repeat
information.
that part just because of the background noise, that'd be great.
Okay.
Just edit that part.
I would definitely love some information regarding the growth of my business and the direction that I'm trying to move it in. I would like it to be a full-time job. So any guidance or info that I can get on that would be wonderful. If we have time, I would love to check in. I had a dog that crossed over. Her name is Uggy. And I would love to check in with her, see how she is, if she's available. And I thought maybe she might come back. And now I'm not so sure. I think she's having a lot of fun and I'm not so sure. So I'd love to touch base with her if I could as well.
Okay, great. All right, so let's just start with your general information about your company. And I feel like Uggy would like to talk. So angels and guides would love information to be helpful for Shelley in regards to her company and moving into that full time. So they show me an image of like a flower blossoming, and it feels like you're already in that process. Like you're literally, things are unfolding and it's really great. And you just have to keep on doing it. They're showing me an image of just basically taking one step after another. So you've already gotten the guidance and the messages, and it's just like literally taking those steps. And they show me it's like the steps that go up kind of like into heaven. And I think this is like a metaphor, not like literally crossing over to the other side, but just like you just take each step as it comes, and then you'll get to this amazing place. So, if you were to try to do all that at once, it obviously would be like a lot, but just take these kind of little baby steps or these little single steps as you go, and you're going to do amazing things. So just have that faith and confidence and keep moving forward with all the steps that they've already been giving you on your path. All right, angels, what else will help Shelley, especially in regards to her company? Yeah, it already feels like your job, your regular work right now feels heavier and heavier for you. And like on a soul level, you're like, I just want to do all these other things. So I feel like it's actually not that far for you before you really step into, all of the things that you're currently doing, but just at another level and more full time. One of the things they're showing that's important to help that process is the importance of honoring your value and charging what you're worth for all of the different things that you do. Because I know you do a lot of different things. You have your products with your company, Positive Spirit. You're a photographer. You're now a writer, and I'm just getting all these things. It's just really important that you do these kind of incremental honoring your value, charging for what you're worth. It looks like there are some times where you don't charge or you charge very little for what you provide, and the universe responds in kind. So it's so important for you to honor yourself and your value and ask for the universe and those around you to reciprocate. So it starts with you first. And as you honor your value, then others do too. And there's always going to be people who are out of your budget, people who can't afford, and that's okay. And there's different budgets and pricing for everything. So just as you move forward, just know that you are not going to be for everyone, but just trust that there are those who are going to be there for you that are the right fit. I'm just getting to tell a little story that when I had already started working as a psychic, and I was feeling like I was getting the message to raise my prices, and I asked the angels for a very clear sign, and I was driving home, and I got home, and in my mailbox was a business magazine that was addressed to me that I had never subscribed to. And the headline front page article was 10 reasons why you should raise your prices. So I'm feeling like that's important for you. And there is so much that is this kind of perception of value for people, where when you price something higher, people perceive it to be worth more, even though it's literally just a number that we assign. So just the importance of that. And in particular, as it relates to photography. So I'm not sure what you charge. We've never discussed about that, but it's really coming up, because you are an amazing photographer. I mean, I've seen so many of your photos on social media, like incredible. And so the importance of you honoring that, especially if you're working for other people or doing a hired shoot, that you're taking into account your talent, your time and energy, and not just of the shoot itself, because I know so much of it is photography is the post-production work that goes into it. So really just making sure that you're valuing it high enough for it to really match the energy. Because one thing that'll happen is if our energy doesn't match the pricing, we can actually it almost acts like a way to keep it away, because like it creates this misalignment between pricing and value, and then people don't sign up. Does that make sense?
Oh, it really does. And you're spot on with the photography. That's where I struggle, because I do feel that I feel like I can create price packages for anyone, but I need to move out of the friends and family discount and, get into, like you said, just charging for the time and the energy and everything that goes into it. So that really is spot on.
Yeah. I know this is a big thing for photographers, because again, so much of it is not just the time of the shoot. It's the leading up to, and then the post work to touch up the images and upload the images and all of that. So yeah, I'm just feeling, let me just check in on the number. What they're telling me right now is that basically you should approximately at least double what you're charging. And then even after you double, like not that long after that, you should raise it again. And again, like I know, like as a psychic, I know that I'm not priced for everyone, but that's one reason why I started the podcast. That's why I have books. Like for some people, it doesn't mean that I have to be the person to do it for each individual. I just have a lot of different price points for wherever you are. I have free things. I have $10 things. I have things that are $1,000, so it's important for you to just not feel like you always have to be the one to provide that service for people.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And for everyone who may be struggling with this for pricing of themselves, whatever their service or products are, when you go to a new level, like when you raise your rates, it will feel uncomfortable at first. So just sharing that it's normal, but then it also can feel really good once you are valuing yourself and what you offer, and then people value that and pay you. And then it starts to shift into that feeling good. So just know that it may feel uncomfortable or weird or bad or wrong when you first start to raise. And so just ask the angels to help you with that and just kind of keep moving through it. And then just again, understand and acknowledge that if someone isn't able to pay your prices, that doesn't mean that they are too expensive as a whole. They just may be too expensive for that person, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be at that price point. Any questions about any of that?
Oh, that's a really good way to put it and to frame it. So, yeah, right now, like I said, I feel like I need to have a package for everyone. And I need to move into the fact that it's okay that that might not happen. So,
One thing that's coming up for those where maybe they can't afford to book at the new rates that you're going to be offering, it feels like you love teaching. And one of the things that you could do is teach a class on how to take your own photos or something at a lower rate. So this is, it's not required for you to do this. It's just a suggestion or an option. And that could be lower because it could be a group, right? So let's say we're going to meet
right,
and I'm going to give you some pointers on how you use your own camera to capture images. So that's one idea so that you can do things. So that's one of the reasons I started to teach, was that same reason. Like I knew that everyone wasn't able to purchase readings at their rate, but I wanted everyone to learn how to use their intuition. So I started to teach these classes where people could learn how to kind of DIY some of these things with intuition. And I'm getting the same. So that's an option. I know you have a lot of different things that you're working on, but that's one thing that you could do. And the other piece is just continue to let go of the feeling that you have to be for everyone. The more we niche
right.
down and really focus on whatever our true self wants to align with, and the better everything goes for us and the world as well. Okay, great. So angels and guides, what else would help Shelley moving forward? Well, I know you're already working on this, but the podcast feels like a great idea. And for you to really get out there on other people's show, talking about your services, what you offer, both your products, your process, and and this has popped up for me psychically before, so I'm glad to talk with you now and have the opportunity to share it, that your work with animals and plants and trees specifically feels really
Mm,
important, and that I'm getting, you're being guided to step forward and learn more, take some more classes and some of those things, and then also start teaching very quickly. So that happened with me as well. I was still taking classes. I mean, I still take classes all the time now, even as someone who's been doing this, is considered kind of an expert and doing this for 10 years. But to do that and then start to teach immediately, and you probably will get into this kind of imposter syndrome feeling of like, no, I'm not ready. And it's like, yes, you are. You have so much that on a soul level, you're ready to share right away, because it's not just about your knowledge in this life, right? It's about all of your past lives that you've had, and all this knowledge that you've acquired as a soul through multiple lifetimes. And so you are absolutely ready to teach, and you don't need anyone to sort of authorize you to do these things. So I'm getting just doing a class about nature spirits or animals, but animal communication and mediumship is really popping up. And I'm getting, Shelley, that if you ever wanted to do some training with me or others, of course, as well, that would be something that is so powerful for you, because you're just so naturally oriented towards animals.
it's so interesting that you brought that up. I actually am scheduled for an animal Reiki class so
Great.
that I can begin to do Reiki with animals at the beginning of November. And I have been trying to focus on animals more lately because I communicate with the plants and the trees, especially, a lot. Animals are new, and I'm starting to see pictures like they just kind of pop in my head. Like Diesel, my one little dog, I'll all of a sudden get a picture of a leash. Like, and I know that he wants to go for a walk. Like, I just know. So I would love to explore that more. And learn how to dive deeper into that to help people communicate with their animals and communicate myself with the little fur friends that I have.
That's great. Yeah, yeah. I have a book that will be coming out from, I'm still working on my podcasting book, but the next one after that is on my work with animals. And I also teach these group classes, psychic development classes that are monthly. And I'm feeling like one of the next ones I should do on animal communication and work with animals, because it's something that's so incredible, and it's really fun to do, by the way. I mean, it's a really fun type of psychic work to do, and it's fascinating. But most animals are quite psychic, and it's just a matter of learning how to kind of interface with them in that particular way. So yeah, so I'm feeling that's great. The animal Reiki feels wonderful, but that's a really wonderful way for you to focus. That's one of your focuses. I know you do a lot of things. You're wonderful at a lot of things, but that feels like a big part of your path. And I hear, I don't know if you've ever worked with horses, but I literally hear the horse whisperer. Have you ever worked with horses?
Not in this life. I'm actually a little afraid of them.
So it's funny because a lot of times where our fear lies is also where our great power lies. So I get that a lot where I'll be like, I'm kidding, you should be a writer. And they're like, oh my God, I'm terrified of writing or speaking or whatever, you know? So anyway, let me just check in about that, about the horse aspect. Ah, okay. Looks like there was a lifetime in which you were thrown off a horse and it feels like you broke your back. You had a pretty serious injury. And so you
Mhm.
are skittish around horses as a result of that experience. But I'm getting, you don't need to worry about that in this life because you're so psychic that you will know what's happening. And actually, you kind of set yourself up like, I need to be able to see these things. So you've set yourself up to be very psychic in this lifetime to help protect yourself from potential problems and seeing things. Because I'm getting in that lifetime you had a bad feeling, but it looks like the person, it wasn't your horse, it was someone else's horse, and that person was like, no, it's fine, you'll be fine, and you just had a bad feeling
Uh,
and you got on the horse anyway, even because that was the expert, and I'm putting kind of mentally in quotes, that was the expert. He told you that it was going to be fine. So this lifetime, it's about you really honoring and listening to your body, your intuition. And this horse had been treated very badly and basically just didn't like people, didn't trust people. So it wasn't about you. It was just, this was like a traumatized horse, basically.
aw.
Yeah, I know. Not a good outcome for you in your past life, but there was, of course, a lesson associated with that. But also, you don't have to ride the horse. I mean, this is not about, although I do feel
Mhm.
like if you learn to ride, that could be very healing for you. But even just doing Reiki on horses, learning to communicate with
Mm.
horses, I'm getting would be very healing for you and also help remove that fear. Anytime we have fear, whether it's from something in this life or a past life, as long as it stays there in our energy field, it can block like good things from coming in our lives because that fear is such a low vibrational energy and it gets kind of trapped in our energy field. So anything we can do to move through any type of fear that is really triggering for us can really help us in a lot of other areas that may seem disconnected at first.
Oh, that's awesome. It's funny that you say that with the horses because our neighbors have horses
Mm.
and they had a calf that was born and they said, hey, come back and see the calf. Well, three of their horses, gigantic big horses who don't bother with anybody, immediately came right over.
Mm-hmm.
They were sniffing me, and my neighbor Sharon was like, they don't bother with anyone. And they are so curious about you.
Yes.
So that makes sense that she's like, just hang out with them, it's cool. And they were beautiful and they were very gracious, but yeah, they
Yeah.
sure did. They came right over to say hello, and she just thought that that was the weirdest thing. So
That'll happen a lot with people that have psychic abilities and specifically that can communicate with animals. So I'm the same way. Like I'd be the person where, like, let's say it was the cat. Like this cat hates people. hides, never talks, never comes and hangs out with anybody that's not in the family. And I'd come over and the cat's like purring and rubbing on me and like jumping on my lap. And the humans are like, what is going on? And this is before I even figured out a lot of this stuff about my own self. So even before you understand your own abilities or your soul path or purpose, a lot of times there are signs. So yeah, I'm getting these horses are very telepathic and they're like, hey, and they can tell sometimes your abilities, even if you don't really know about them yet or understand about them. The same way with me with ghosts. Like I tracked a lot of ghosts before I knew how to handle it, but they could see that I could sense them and were attracted as a result. So yeah, I'm feeling those, and those horses, they meant no harm. They saw your light. They could sense that you could communicate and were very sensitive and sweet. And we're just drawn into that. So yeah, that feels like that would be helpful for you to, for example, when you get your Reiki for Animals training, maybe offer to see if you can come, try on the horses, your neighbor's horses.
Yeah.
And this is a great thing to start out. It's very important that you very quickly charge. So especially like, for example, this animal Reiki.
Okay.
But what worked well for me and I'm feeling would work well for you would be to do maybe say 10 or so kind of intro free sessions. And then you can just in exchange, there has to be something. So it could be for a review, for a testimonial, for getting the message out. And then you have to be like, okay, and now I'm charging. Or you can also do or just by donation. But I like the initial kind of first review just because it helps spread the word.
Right.
And then you set your pricing accordingly afterwards. And I know you have your book that's going to come out soon. And I think you're on the editing process and kind of packaging it.
Yep.
But I'm feeling like very quickly you should work on a book. And it feels like that book I know has a lot of stories, which is great from other people. But I'm feeling like your next book that your guides are suggesting for you is one of them. There's one about trees, but this other one they're talking about is animals, and specifically about your work with animals. And basically can be stories, like your stories of your work with animals. So even like all of these 10 free ones, if you decide to do this, would be, you can write about those. It'll give you something to start sharing.
Oh,
And
cool.
specifically in the context of you as someone providing service in that area. Does that make sense?
It does. That's very cool.
And then I'm also seeing another book about trees and their magic and their spiritual nature.
Yes.
So that feels important. And I'm not sure which one will come first. It feels like they're both important. So you can decide that. But and with the tree book, it feels like the tree spirits would like you to communicate some of the kind of lost knowledge and tree magic that was known by, for example, like the Druids and different native peoples in the world, like how you can use different trees for healing, for kind of magic and energy.
Laura, you are. I was in a store and immediately, I've never been in the store before, and it's like a store full of magical stuff.
Right.
I immediately know to go to the back right corner, and there is a book on tree spells.
I love it.
And it spells from, like you said, like from the Druids and from the
Native Americans
pagans and native.
Yes.
And that's and it almost like it was like it leapt off the shelf into my hands, and I'm like, okay, you're coming with me. So you did it again.
I love that. Yeah, it feels really important. Like when we have a soul path and purpose, it's like our soul is also like, hey, I'm good at this. This is what I align with and what I'm excited about. And it feels like you're so connected with a lot of these different tree spirits, and they know that you could help get their message. I feel that the trees collectively right now want to help humanity so much. They want to help the world.
They do.
And this is one of the ways that they know that they can do that. And there's been all this kind of knowledge that's been lost by most people. I mean, it's not completely lost. There still is records and, certain people know, but it's about you getting this like more mainstream, like for people to know, oh, whatever, wood you choose for things in your home, or when you can use it in herbal potions, or scents, or all of these things, that
Yeah.
these are meaningful, and it's going to really help elevate everyone and bring in more of that kind of magic, and also just reconnect everyone with the natural realm and the earth and all of its magic as a whole. And the trees are telling me that there's basically kind of like almost like a war against the trees right now. It feels like, there's been all these fires and there's just so much destruction. And I know
Yeah.
there's rebirth and renewal that comes from it, but I'm also getting the message from the trees that it feels like there's some very dark forces that are trying to suppress that kind of tree magic and knowledge and all that
Mm-hmm.
wisdom that the trees bring to us. And so other people here, like you, are here to try to help bring that knowledge back and help people understand the importance of trees and elevate trees and help them help us as well.
That resonates deep in my heart. Yes, I would love to have more people be the literal tree huggers that I am.
Yeah.
So
I
that would
feel
be wonderful.
I mean, I literally can communicate with trees and I will feel the trees, and like they're so healing. And I know some people will think I'm crazy
Yeah,
for saying that, but like I'm not, no, this tree has a consciousness and intelligence. It communicates differently
absolutely.
than humans do, obviously, but it's quite profound and very strong. And I remember reading the book Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you know that, I've read that series, but there's the Ents.
Mm-hmm.
The like Ents are like the moving trees, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. There's definitely something there, like spiritually. I was like,
Yep.
yes. And anyway, I do feel that those are real on a level. And this book, the tree book, I'm feeling like would be really great if it was released, say, not this year, it's obviously too soon, but say around the holidays, because there's so much of that tree magic. I mean, is wrapped up with Christmas, which is, that
Yeah.
element of Christmas is really a pagan holiday anyway, the Christmas tree idea.
Right.
But that it would be a great time because people are thinking about that, and it feels like it would be a great kind of holiday Christmas book. And I am seeing that this would be a book that would be great if you could have photos, like a photo book, versus these other books, they're more text. So yeah,
Cool.
and they're telling me that you could really use your skills as a photographer, including your photography of a lot of these different trees, and that because you're such an
Oh,
amazing
cool.
photographer, you will capture, the spirit of a lot of
Their
these trees in a
essence.
way, yeah, that a lot of other people wouldn't. So anyway, that's coming up, and I'm seeing it. It's very like bright, colorful book, but it feels very magical and like it has a lot of power. So anyway, that's coming up.
Awesome.
And in regards to your business, I'm feeling like so much of the timeline of your success really has to do with this piece of you putting yourself out there, honoring your value, and continue to raise the bar
Mm,
with your value. And the faster you do that, the faster everything comes. And this happens with me. I mean, I within about a year moved from consulting to just doing my work full time, with my
wow.
company. And it the whole time it felt really uncomfortable because they kept telling me, raise your prices, do this, and I was like, oh my god, this is so hard. Because I want to help everyone, right? I want to help everyone, but that
Right.
aspect of charging for yourself and your value is really significant, and then putting yourself out there. So the podcast feels important because it really provides an avenue for you to share your message and then show people what you're about. And then you also can trade show appearances, and also just having a show really helps you get your message out into the world. And make sure when you're on other people's shows that you really promote what you're doing and what you're offering in a way that people can really connect.
Ah,
So this is all really exciting, and it feels like I just am being shown an image of like a rocket ship. Like you have the potential, Shelley, to just take off so fast, and just things come to you like very quickly and in amazing ways. And so much of this is just about continue to raise what you feel you can receive, literally in terms of money, in
mm,
terms of positive support, and just keep asking the angels to help. And I know you've tried things like the emotion code and all the tools. Just keep doing all of that
mm-hmm.
to continue to help
Cool.
those raise those upper limit blocks, with how much can I have, how much is it okay for me to have, and just keep reminding yourself that the more you have, the more you can give to others as well. So it creates this
Yes.
beautiful giving cycle. Any I was going to ask what else you want to talk about, but there was Uggy. So let me just do a quick check-in with Uggy.
Oh, thank you.
Right, angels and guides. Would love to connect with Uggy. Oh yeah, I feel Uggy. Oh, it feels like Uggy really is nudging you. Like I literally see kind of with the nose, like nudging you forward in your path. And Uggy wants you to know that you are meant to be a teacher, a healer, and then also I'm being shown like teaching the teachers. And that became really clear to me for myself as well. Like I knew that long term, I was also meant to not just provide one-on-one service. And that's a wonderful thing to do, by the way. But I also just got the message that one of the ways I could be the most impactful was to teach others to do as well. And so that's what I'm feeling for you. And that's what Uggy is communicating with you is like, it's okay and to step into that. And I'm seeing this very strong kind of priestess energy with you and like just knowing and honoring what you know and just stepping into that. This magician kind of priestess energy. So any particular questions you have for Aggie?
I know that she's happy, of course, where she is. And I thought for a while that maybe she was going to reincarnate, but lately I've been getting the vibe that she's kind of decided to stay where she is. So I feel her when she's around. I love that she checks in. But I just didn't know if she was planning on coming back or not.
Yeah, she does feel very happy. I see this very like full body wag. Yeah, and I'm being shown very happy on the other side, really enjoying that. And it feels like she's really loving connecting on a spirit level right now with you. And there's others that she connects with and acts as a guide for. But she's showing she definitely comes to you, especially in sleep and dreams, connecting with you and that kind of energy and time. And it looks like she comes and hangs out in your kitchen.
Yes, that's where I feel her.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's just loving you. And just, again, that she shows me that kind of nudging you forward with her nose. She's just kind of giving you these little gentle nudges to help you on your path. And she's specifically communicating how the natural realm really needs you, humans too, but like that you have purposely been selected by a lot of nature spirits, animals, trees, to help them and also to help humanity. So it feels like a really important role. And I'm being shown the importance of almost like honoring your priestliness or your queendom or whatever. And like, it's time to like put on that crown and that kind of robe and just step into that energy and honor it. Okay, great.
That's cool.
And of course, like he says, anytime you want to talk with her, just, kind of mentally invite her and she'll be there. And now you see this kind of give big wagging energy again. Very, very happy, very loving, very excited. And it looks like sometimes, even though I know you're a really positive person, you do struggle a little bit with loneliness or kind of feeling the weight of the world. And the more that you step into your work, in this area, the less of that there is for you, meaning you just feel the joy and the magic of the planet, so if you're feeling ever a little bit down or low energy, that really focusing more on this type of spiritual work, magic energy, getting your message out is one way to help combat all of that.
That's awesome.
And I really do feel between your different works and your podcasts that things will shift for you very, very quickly. And you might even feel like, oh my gosh, things are happening so fast. So, when that happens, it just means that your purpose is very needed and you're very supported. Okay, great. So I'm just going to thank all the angels and guides and ask that you give very clear guidance, assistance, and support to Shelley moving forward and everything that we talked about and anything else that will help her on her path. Thank you. And Shelley, if you can just share how people can best connect with you, your podcast, and all of that, social media handles, whatever you'd like to give out.
Oh, wonderful. So you can reach me at the Positive Spirit Co at gmail.com if you want to shoot me an email. You can also reach me on Facebook and Instagram, but the same title. So The Positive Spirit Co.
Okay, great. All right. And I just want to thank you, Shelley, for sharing your magic and your energy with us today. And I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you'd like to connect more with me, you can go to my website, healingpowers.net. You can find me on Twitter at Laura Powers, Instagram at Laura Powers 44, and on Facebook at Healing Powers. Many blessings.